Here's hoping I know what I'm doing. Let's take this. I can get my seat. And take that apart. I'll be right back. Gosh. My creaky seat. You've heard that before. Gotta get a tool. Okay, and I'm sure my editing is going to suck, so pretty much going to do this off the cuff. Okay. This is the Ithaca model 49R. I put it back together from part 1, and it's been way too long. And yeah, I took it out and shot it a couple times, and it works great. And somebody's is asking about this sighting down like that, the bolt coming back. Probably till it hits the hammer, because the hammer is in, pretty sure I'm seeing this. The hammer is spring loaded, so that's probably what it does, is it just sags it doesn't lock in like that, which you probably heard. If you can hear anything at that distance. So, what we're going to do is, we're going to sort of take this apart so you can see what the bolt looks like. And yes, I don't recommend you take these screws out a whole lot, because you wear them out, you wear out the threads in the aluminum. And don't ever put any Loctite or anything on them. They don't need it. And do I have any more light around here? Is it possible? I hope that helps. Probably just cast shadows. Figures. Yeah. And you don't need to tighten the heck out of them or anything. This is the left side. You have the big shanked screw. Set that to the side. Then you go to the right side and take the tiny shanked screw out. Pinned, tiny pin. That was a large pin. This is a small pin. As you can see, it comes out of the right side. I hope you can see it. We'll pull this back a little ways. And according to my advice, you pull this back, you lift it up, you hang onto the rail, move the rail over, and it all comes out in one piece. There shouldn't be anything else in there to look at if you have a problem with the lever sagging down, because you see now it just snaps up like that. Now this also, this part has to lock in also when it gets to the, let me get rid of the rail. The rail is hand fitted to the bolt, and forward and back, up and down, side to side. If it was working good at one point, slides over, slides back, all nice and wonderful, you'll see the wear marks on it. Right? Okay? I don't know what that wear mark is, but there it is. Wear marked. I don't know what that is. Anyway, you'll see the wear marks on it, so you can tell which way it's got to go. This is obviously going to go up against the gun because there's no wear on it. That goes up against the bolt, because this goes up against the receiver. This goes up against the bolt because it's got all the wear on it. It wore all the black paint off of it. This is the top because it usually gets most of the wear. All right, so that's how it's got to go back in. Otherwise, it get kind of tough to move the action. Why is this thing so dirty? Could have swore I cleaned this thing. Anyway, nonetheless, we'll move on. Okay, this pin right here is a locking pin. It locks the bolt in place. As you can see, I can move it up and down with my thumb. I'm pretty sure you can see that. Move it up and down with my thumb like that. See that? And it usually locks in. You can see the top here. See how it pivots? It's spring loaded. It's pretty heavy, really. Should be a pretty heavy spring for doing that. You have to actually use some muscle of your finger and stuff to move it. But when you pull it all the way forward, it locks in like that. And when you pull it back, it pops back out. Get it all the way forward, it locks it in. Could that be a problem? Yes, it could. That may be what the problem is. You have to take the bolt out, find out, and see if that actually has a lot of spring tension to it. And it's still got a good hook on it. Right there where my fingernail is. You can see the light through the hook, I think. I really can't see what you can see, but I'm trying to make it so that you can see that there is just a very little bit of a hook right there. All right? Man, that won't help you. You want it dark behind you. So we're going to set this to the side. Well, guess what fell out? Show you how to put that back in. It's not very hard to do. It only goes one way. You can see where it's been working, and you can see all the crud in here. I don't understand what that is all about. I'll figure it out later. Sorry. This hook, you can see right here. There's a side that's on. See that? And you can see the pin right there. There's a spring, and it's fun to get out and back in there. So I don't take it out. But if it's broken or something, that's another deal, then you'll have to take it out. This lug right here, for other reasons, has a lot to do with a lot of things. The lever actually grabs, when you put this back in, you have to put this lug into the U-shaped holder for it that moves the bolt back and forth from the lever. And we'll get into that. I have to see if you can see this or not. Okay, I gotta move over this way. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna have to have another light and all kinds of stuff. So in here, there's really nothing to... Okay, let me show you this. We're gonna get into all that, aren't we? We did better before without the tripod. So in here, this arm is spring loaded. And when you pop the lever down, you'll see that this shaft right here, can you see it? This shaft hooks into here and places that up. So that shoves this part up from the arm on this side over here. Here's the U shape you were looking for, I was telling you about, if you can see it. There it is. I can't do all this at once, unfortunately. That U-shaped animal right there, okay, that's where that lug on the bolt goes down into. And you'll see it moves forward like that till it goes in and stops and it latches. Well, there isn't really a detent or anything much. There isn't much coming from this spring-loaded arm. This is spring-loaded off of that spring right there. I don't know if you can see it better from there. It is right there. You can see how that is. And then when you pull it up, it goes back up. It does a little bit, but the bolt does most of it, and that's that front clip that catches down. And that catches onto the rim of the cartridge. Let me just do this. Let us find our part again. There it is. Right there. That catches onto the rim of the cartridge when you pull the lever all the way up. That will click. It'll click in because it's on the rim of the cartridge. So when you pull it back, it'll pull back until it has to let go of the cartridge. This holds onto the bottom edge of the cartridge here. And it will eject the shell out because of the other one pushing up on it. So, if you have a problem with lever sag, I would pull the bolt out as I showed you and look for this arm. Yeah, that arm right there and the spring in front of it. Yeah, you can't see it worth a darn, can you? That arm, that spring, make sure that spring's there and make sure it moves when the lever's moved. Just holding the lever up. While we're in here, the other thing I wanted to show you was that the arm I had in the first video, there was a lifter arm. It's way over there on the side. Kind of a ramp looking thing. Right there on the side. And it has a nylon block on the end of it that slides into a receiving port on the lifter. Between the two of them, right there, these two right here. You can see it goes, and it pulls it back down as you close the lever. So, but as far as holding the lever up, there's only two things that would do it, and that's one, and that's that spring right there. This pin right there, shaft, pin, whatever you want to call it. This is part of the lever, and it just moves very freely right there until it hits that, and it holds it up by itself. With the bolt in there, the bolt helps hold it in place because it locks in. Okay. If this pin right here is in backwards, tap it out that way because the big head is over here now. Go ahead and tap it out, bring it over here, turn it around so the big head is on the right side, and just slide it through there and tap it back in so it gets some fresh meat on there. And those who have problems with a barrel twisting, that may take care of that, hopefully. But yeah, basically that's it. And you can see I've painted this, and the numbers aren't coming out as good as they were before. But I've repainted this with not Aluma Black. I recommend if you need to repaint this, you use Aluma Black. You can see this just pops off of here because it's not the right paint, and it doesn't work exactly like it should. So there is no spring per se for this lever to hold it up. It's all the mechanisms it's hooked to hold it up. As far as the lifter not coming up, there's a, well, taking the lever out would be easier to show you, but so I'm not going to do that. But this lever on the side here has a nylon block on it. You saw it in the first video, it was in the bucket. And it slides into a receiving port on the side of this lifter, this cartridge lifter. If the nylon block is broken or missing whatever, you can get new ones. That arm is pushed up and pushed down by the lever. You can see there's a, I don't know if you can see it or not. I sure as heck can't see it. Well, you can see it back here, but you'll see it right there. Let's see if you can see it now. Well, I can't see it. How are you going to see it? There it is. I got my hands in the way, of course. There's a little pin off the side of this arm, the U shape, off the side of that. There's a fat pin in there. It's very short, and it rides up against the back side of that lever. And when you pull it down, it pushes it down, pushes the lifter down in. When you pull it up, it hits the back side of that, and where this pivots on the boss or the pin on the receiver that you don't want to take out, which is right there, the arm pivots on that, and the lever lifts it up like that when you push it all the way forward. Then as you go forward, it pushes the bolt. The bolt shoves the cartridge into the chamber, shows it back down for the next one to load while you shoot. And we're not going to shoot because we don't have a bolt in here. Okay, and that's basically it. So if there's anything else you need to look at, check that first. Spring, arm, make sure that it has spring tension against it on that arm. That's all I got for now. So we'll talk with you later. If anybody has any more questions, just send me a text and let me know what you got. And if you fixed it, send me a text and tell me we fixed it. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together. And yes, it does shoot fine, but I have to cock it slower than I used to because that black plastic piece down in there. Can you see that black plastic piece down in there? No, of course. There it is. Nice and bright and black. See it? And that bright black plastic piece has to wear in. The other end of it is not worn in, so I can't play rifleman right at the moment, but I'll work on that. Okay, you guys take care. We'll see you later. Have a good night.